Hey everyone, and welcome back. You ready for this? We're going deep on the Colorado Buffaloes today.
Yeah, things are getting pretty interesting out in Boulder.
It's wild, right?
Yeah.
Last year, everyone was writing them off, total underdogs.
Uh,
Now they're bowl eligible in just their second season with Coach Prime. What is going on out there?
it's definitely been a wild ride. I mean, remember all the skepticism when Coach Prime first took over?
Yeah, for sure.
Now it's like everyone's trying to figure out his secret sauce.
It's like the whole college football world is watching, trying to figure out if this is just hype.
Or if it's the real deal.
Exactly. So is this a fluke? Or is there something more to this Colorado resurgence? And what does it mean for the future of the program?
Well, let's break it down. Starting with that Cincinnati game.
Oh, man, that was a good one.
Right. 34-23, that win sent them straight to a bowl game, their first since 2020.
And remember, this is a team that's only had 6 wins in a season 3 times in the last 17 years.
Yeah, it's not just a winning streak. It's like a total program shift.
Totally. And to put it in perspective, they were only projected to win 5.5 games this season. The Big 12 preseason media poll had them at 14th.
It's a complete turnaround, no doubt about it. We haven't seen this kind of excitement around Colorado football in years.
It's like night and day, right? Their last bowl win was back in 2004, and their last 10-win season, 2016.
So, yeah, this isn't your average uptick in performance. This is something different.
Absolutely. All right, so we can't talk about this comeback without mentioning the mastermind behind it. Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, his arrival in Boulder was, what's the word?
A spectacle.
Yeah, a spectacle. People were both excited and a little bit wary.
Understandably so. I
Yeah.
mean, he brought a whole new approach to Colorado football. Think about it. Heavy reliance on the transfer portal, bringing in his son, Shedder Sanders, as quarterback, and then you have Travis Hunter, the two-way star.
Yeah, it was a bold move for sure.
Very bold. And right from the start, there were a lot of people raising eyebrows, critics and doubters everywhere. Some folks thought his style wouldn't work at the college level.
Yeah, could you blame them? It's a big jump from high school to the big leagues.
It is.
Yeah.
And you can't ignore the history of coaches who've tried to reinvent the wheel
Yeah.
and failed.
But you have to admit, the results speak for themselves.
Oh, absolutely. Colorado's winning. They're bowl eligible. Hunter's a Heisman contender. And Shedder, well, he's looking like a potential first-round NFL draft pick.
Hard to argue with that kind of impact.
Nope, can't argue with success. And it's not just the wins. Coach Prime has brought this energy, this national spotlight, back to Colorado football. People are paying attention.
Oh, yeah. Everyone wants to know what's going on in Boulder.
Right. So let's talk about Shedder's performance in that Cincinnati game. Incredible. 25 of 30 passes for 323 yards and 3 total touchdowns. And to top it off, he set a school record by completing his first 15 passes.
All while battling the flu, I might add.
Oh yeah, don't forget that. The guy only practiced once that week.
Talk about dedication.
And Coach Prime wasn't shy about praising his son's performance. He even questioned the Heisman criteria, suggesting that Shedder was overlooked.
It does make you think, right?
He does. It's like, what really defines a Heisman-worthy performance? Is it just stats, or is there more to it?
Yeah, a lot of people are saying the Heisman tends to favor players on championship contending teams. And right now, Colorado's not quite there yet.
That's right. But their success will definitely impact Shedder's chances.
So it's like a team effort, even for an individual award.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's get to the elephant in the room, the transfer portal. It's completely reshaped college football.
And Coach Prime, he's using it masterfully, rebuilding the Colorado roster almost overnight.
Look at Isaiah Augustive. Rushed for 93 yards against Cincinnati. He's given them a much more balanced attack.
It's a fascinating strategy, especially for a program like Colorado that needed a fast turnaround. But it does make you wonder, is it good for the sport in the long run?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
For sure. On one hand, it's exciting to see teams like Colorado climb the ranks so quickly. What about the smaller programs? Can they even compete if the big schools are poaching all the top talent?
It's a valid concern. The transfer portal could create this rich get-richer situation in college football, making it even harder for the smaller schools to keep up.
Okay, so we've got Coach Prime shaking things up, a quarterback making waves, and the transfer portal changing the game as we know it.
And here's the kicker. Colorado is now 6-2 overall and 4-1 in Big 12 play.
Wait, are you saying they're in contention for the Big 12 championship?
They are.
No way.
Wait, it's crazy, right?
It's wild. I mean, BYU and Iowa State are undefeated at the top of the standings.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
What?
Colorado doesn't even play them in the regular season.
Oh, wow, that's huge.
It is. It's like a secret advantage almost.
Okay, so maybe, just maybe, a Big 12 title run isn't completely out of the question, but they've still got a tough schedule ahead. Texas Tech, Utah, Kansas, and Oklahoma State.
And don't forget, all of those teams lost this week.
So they're going to be coming in hungry, ready to prove themselves.
Exactly. Colorado can't afford to slip up, not even for a second.
This is going to be a nail-biter all the way to the finish line.
But think about the momentum Colorado has right now. They've won 5 of their last 6 games, and they're playing with a confidence we haven't seen in years.
You can feel it, can't you? There's a different energy around this team.
It's like Coach Prime has unlocked something special.
And let's not forget the talent they have on both sides of the ball. You've got Shitter Sanders playing like a Heisman contender, Travis Hunter, who's a game changer, and their defense is getting better every week.
Absolutely. And Coach Prime has instilled this winning mentality. They're not intimidated by anyone. They're proving they can hang with the best of them.
It's so exciting to watch.
It is. Okay, so we've talked about the potential for a Big 12 title, but let's circle back to that Heisman Trophy conversation. Do you think Shitter actually has a shot at winning?
I mean, he's putting up incredible numbers and leading his team to victory.
But, you know, the Heisman often goes to the quarterbacks on those national championship contending teams.
So Colorado's success as a whole is going to directly affect Shitter's chances.
Absolutely. If they can win out and make a run for the Big 12 title, that would definitely boost his case.
All right, so we've got Coach Prime's impact on the program, but I'm also curious about his impact on the future of college football. That heavy reliance on the transfer portal, is this a sign of what's to come?
Yeah, it's a big question mark hanging over the sport right now. The transfer portal has changed the game completely, and Coach Prime's showing that it can be a powerful tool, especially for programs looking for that quick rebuild.
But is it good for college football in the long run?
That's the debate, isn't it?
Definitely. We've never seen anything like this before.
Nope. It's uncharted territory.
And we're all trying to figure out what it means.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is this the future? Is this the new normal? Or is this just a blip on the radar? Time will tell, I guess.
On one hand, it's thrilling to see programs like Colorado rise to the top so quickly.
Right. It shakes things up, keeps it interesting.
What happens to the smaller schools? If the big programs can just pick off all the best players, doesn't that create an even bigger gap?
Yeah, that's the potential downside. This idea that the rich get richer and the rest get left behind. And that's a valid concern, something we definitely need to keep an eye on.
It's like this tug-of-war between tradition and innovation.
And it's playing out right in front of us.
Yep.
With Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes, they're the case study, the experiment that everyone's watching.
You mentioned earlier that Coach Prime's impact goes beyond just wins and losses, and I'd love to dig into that a little bit more. What are some of the less obvious ways he's changing the game?
Sure. Well, one thing that stands out is the energy. You know, the excitement he's brought back to Colorado football. It's not just about the wins, it's about the style, the swagger, the confidence. He's created this buzz that we haven't seen in years.
It's infectious.
Right. It's palpable, and it's attracting attention from all corners of the country.
People are definitely taking notice.
They are. And, you know, this kind of buzz has a ripple effect. It can help attract top recruits, inspire alumni to get more involved, and even re-energize the fan base.
It's about building a culture of success, both on and off the field.
Exactly. And what about the impact he's having on his players?
Yeah, that's something you can't really measure in stats, but it's clearly there.
Right. It's not just about X's and O's. He's instilling this sense of belief in them, of confidence, of possibility.
Yeah, you can see it in the way they play, the way they carry themselves.
He's pushing them to be their best, not just as athletes, but as young men.
It's powerful stuff and inspiring to watch.
Definitely. But let's not forget about the human side of this whole story. Remember Peggy Koppom, that 99-year-old superfan we mentioned?
Oh, yeah, Miss Peggy. What a legend.
Right. Well, her story actually highlights a bigger issue facing college football today.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Her dedication to Colorado football is incredible, and it reminds us of those generations of fans who've poured their hearts and souls into this sport.
I get that. The passion is real, you know?
It is. But it also makes you wonder, where are the next generations of fans?
Oh, that's a good question.
College football, like a lot of sports these days, is struggling to connect with younger audiences. And that's a problem.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you see these iconic fans like Miss Peggy who've been following their teams for decades, and you have to wonder who's going to fill those seats in the future.
Exactly. It's not just about filling seats, it's about the future of the sport. If college football can't connect with the next generation, it's going to face some serious challenges down the road.
So, why aren't younger fans as engaged? I mean, college football is supposed to be this huge, passionate thing, right?
It is, but there are a few factors at play. One is the cost. Tickets, parking, concessions, it all adds up.
Especially for younger fans who are probably on a tighter budget.
Right. It could be a big financial commitment to go to a game these days.
Yeah, no kidding. Back in my day. Well, let's just say things were a little different.
And then you have to consider the competition.
Competition.
Yeah, from other forms of entertainment.
Mm.
Streaming services,
Yeah.
video games, social media, they're all vying for attention.
It's true. There are so many distractions these days. And you've got to admit, college football games can be long.
Right. And for younger fans who are used to instant gratification, shorter content, it can be tough to stay engaged for that long.
It's like we're competing with a million other things for their attention.
And on top of all that, a lot of games are only on cable or these streaming services that not everyone have access to.
Yeah, it's not like the old days when you could just turn on the TV and find a game on a major network.
Right. Now you need subscriptions, special channels. It's more complicated.
Okay, so what can college football do to attract these younger fans? Is there a way to bridge this generational gap?
It's a challenge, but not impossible. They need to find ways to make the game more accessible, more engaging for younger audiences.
Just a listener.
Maybe shorter games, more exciting plays, and maybe a greater focus on the personalities of the players. Humanizing them a bit.
I like that. It's not just about watching a game, it's about getting invested in the stories, in the people behind it.
Exactly. And finding ways to make the experience more interactive.
Yeah.
Social media, fantasy leagues, maybe even integrating some technology into the game itself. It's about evolving,
Yeah.
meeting the next generation where they are.
So adapting to the changing landscape.
Exactly. The future of college football depends on it.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? From Colorado's unexpected rise to the Heisman Trophy debate, the transfer portal revolution, and the challenges of engaging younger fans. It's clear that college football is at a crossroads.
It's a fascinating time to be a fan, that's for sure.
It really is. We've talked a lot about Coach Prime and his unconventional approach, but I think there's a bigger takeaway here, something that goes beyond just sports.
Oh, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
It's about the power of challenging the status quo. Coach Prime came into Colorado and flipped the script. He didn't play by the traditional rules, and that's what's so fascinating. He showed us that there's more than one way to win, that sometimes shaking things up can lead to these unexpected breakthroughs.
That's a great point. We can get so caught up in doing things the way they've always been done.
Right. It's easy to get stuck in our routines or ways of thinking.
But real innovation, real change often comes from questioning those norms, looking at things with a fresh perspective.
It's about having the courage to be different, to try something new, even if it means facing criticism.
And that's what makes this story so inspiring, I think. It reminds us that we all have the power to challenge the status quo, to create change, whether it's in our personal lives, our careers, even the way we approach our favorite sports.
It's about pushing boundaries, thinking outside the box.
Exactly. So, to everyone listening, we leave you with this question. What are the unwritten rules in your own life or work that might need to be challenged? Where could a fresh perspective lead to unexpected breakthroughs?
That's something to think about, for sure. All right, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll be diving into some of the other storylines that are shaping the college football landscape. Stay with us.
It's about thinking differently, breaking free from those old patterns. And that's what Coach Prime is doing, isn't he? He's not afraid to challenge the norm. He's not afraid to be different.
And it's working, at least so far. I mean, it's still early in the season, but you can't deny the impact he's having.
Yeah, it's remarkable.
Mm.
But, it also brings up a point we touched on earlier, the whole idea of college football needing to connect with younger fans.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one. And it ties into what we're just talking about, challenging the status quo. Maybe college football needs a shakeup, too, a fresh perspective to stay relevant.
I think so. The game itself. Maybe it needs some tweaking. Maybe shorter games would help, or more focus on those highlight reel plays.
I think that's a great idea.
And then there's the whole media landscape. Games are scattered across cable channels and streaming services. It's not as easy to watch as it used to be.
Yeah, you need subscriptions, you need to know where to look, it's a hassle.
Especially for younger fans who are used to having everything at their fingertips.
It's a different world now, and I think college football needs to adapt to meet those fans where they are.
Think about the way they consume content. It's all about short-form videos, social media, instant access. Maybe college football needs to embrace that more.
You know what? That's a great point. Instead of fighting against it, lean into it. Use those platforms to connect with fans, build excitement,
Showcase the players, their personalities, their stories.
humanize the game, make it more relatable, more accessible.
I like that. It's not just about the game itself. It's about the experience, the connection. Yeah.
Exactly. And let's not forget about the history, the legacy of college football. There's so much richness there, so many stories to tell.
Right. Those iconic programs, the legendary rivalries, the unforgettable moments, that's what draws people in.
And it's what can connect to those younger fans to the sport. If you can tell those stories in a compelling way, you can capture their imagination.
It's about bridging that gap between tradition and innovation.
Hmm,
You know, respecting the past while embracing the future.
that's a great way to put it. Okay, so we've talked about the challenges facing college football. But let's be honest, there's a lot to be excited about too.
Absolutely. There's a reason this sport has captivated fans for generations.
The passion, the intensity, the unpredictability.
Hmm.
You never know what's going to happen next.
And that's what keeps us coming back for more.
Every Saturday, it's a new story waiting to be written.
And that's what makes this Colorado story so compelling. It's defying expectations. It's challenging the norms. It's showing us that anything is possible.
Exactly. It's a reminder that sometimes the most exciting things happen when we break free from the mold, when we dare to be different.
It's about having the courage to dream big, to push boundaries, to create something new. And that's a message that resonates both on and off the field.
So as we continue to follow this wild ride that is Colorado football, let's also remember to embrace that spirit of innovation in our own lives.
To challenge our own assumptions, to explore new possibilities, and to never be afraid to shake things up a little bit.
You never know what amazing things might happen.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
All right, well, we've covered a lot of ground today. From the unexpected rise of the Colorado Buffaloes to the future of college football itself, it's been quite a conversation.
And we're not done yet. Stick around for more insights and analysis after the break. All right, welcome back. We're still buzzing about this whole Colorado football saga, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts on one more piece of the puzzle.
Okay, lay it on me.
Miss Peggy, the 99-year-old superfan. She's been attending Colorado games since the 1940s.
Ah, yeah, she's a legend.
Coach Prime actually promised to get her to a bowl game for her 100th birthday.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Right. But sadly, Miss Peggy couldn't make it to the Cincinnati game because of, COVID.
Oh, no, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's a bummer. But get this, Coach Prime and athletic director Rick George called her from the locker room after the win.
Wow, that's amazing. I bet that made her day.
I know. And that's not all. Coach Prime is committed to finding a private plane so Miss Peggy can travel comfortable to the bowl game.
He's a man of his word, that's for sure. That's a fantastic story. It just warms your heart, doesn't it?
It does. Okay, before we wrap up, we have to talk about one more thing.
What's that?
Texas A&M, they pulled off a pretty impressive comeback win against LSU.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one. 38-23, final score.
Marcel Reed really stepped up after replacing starting quarterback Connor Weigman.
For sure. He went 2 for 2, passing for 70 yards, 9 rushes for 62 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Impressive.
Yeah, the Aggies were down by 10 at halftime, but they came back strong in the second half.
Snapping LSU's 104-game winning streak when leading by 10 or more at the half.
Talk about a statement win.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground today. The Colorado Buffaloes, Coach Prime, the transfer portal, the Heisman race, fan engagement, and even that Texas A&M upset.
It's been a wild ride. College football never disappoints.
It really doesn't. So, what stands out to you most about Colorado's rise?
I think it's the boldness, the audacity of it all. Coach Prime came in and completely flipped the script, didn't he?
Yeah. He didn't shy away from the spotlight. He embraced it.
He challenged the norms, brought in a whole new approach, and it's paying off.
Is this the future of college football?
I don't know if it's the future, but it's definitely a future. And it's exciting to see.
It's like this experiment in real time, right?
Right.
And we're all watching to see what happens next.
Exactly. We're witnessing a shift in the landscape, a new way of thinking about the game.
And that's what's so compelling. This story goes beyond just wins and losses. It's about the power of belief, the impact of bold leadership, and the unpredictable nature of sports.
And it reminds us that anything is possible, even when the odds are stacked against you.
Well said. So, to all our listeners out there, what do you think? Is Coach Prime's approach the future of college football?
Let us know. Join the conversation on our social media. We want to hear your thoughts.
And that's a wrap for today's deep dive. Until next time, keep those helmets on and those conversations flowing.
We'll see you then.